I almost can't believe it, but I'm about to turn 50. Like, it doesn't even feel like I'm about to turn 40. Never mind about to turn 50. But I'm so excited about this next chapter of my life. Got a whole new chapter coming. We're moving to Spain. My whole life is about to shift a different gear, and I'm really, really excited about turning 50 and what the next 50 years is going to bring into my life. So, as I approach this kind of milestone, I've been reflecting on some of the things, some of the biggest changes, some of the biggest lessons that I made, that I learned during my 40s that have helped me become more grounded, more peaceful, and more empowered to actually just be me. So, today I thought I would share with you 5 things I have stopped doing in my 40s that have really changed my life and benefited me. These shifts, by the way, didn't happen overnight. 40s is 10 years long. It was definitely a journey. But even if one of these things resonates with you, it could make such a huge difference to your growth and evolution and to your life. So here we go. The first thing that I have stopped doing is being ruled by my ego. Now, here's the thing. When we're ruled by our ego, we're usually seeking approval and validation and trying to be someone that we think the world wants us to be. Being ego driven can really start off as a survival instinct. And I think for the first part of all of our lives, we're very driven by ego. But as time goes on, it is kind of important to evolve beyond that. So for me, this looked like constantly trying to appear on top of things or like I had it all figured out, not showing any weakness. If I wasn't succeeding or achieving something big, I'd feel like there was a huge amount of pressure on me. I had to prove myself. I felt, yeah, if I wasn't succeeding and doing things, I was a failure. I also felt like people were judging me, people were watching me. It's like you feel like you're the center of attention in some ways, and you take everything super personally. Like everything is about me and what people are saying, what people are doing, like it's all about me. So you feel very triggered a lot of the time and very sort of defensive because you think that other people are doing is about you, and it's really, really not. Like everyone else is just on their own path, doing their own thing. 9 times out of 10, it's not about you. So the way to recognize if you're driven by ego as well is if you often feel defensive and competitive, especially when someone else succeeds or when someone else questions you, someone else questions what you're doing. If you feel really defensive when that happens, 10 to 1 your ego is in the driving seat. Or maybe you have like this need to prove yourself, to push harder, or find yourself feeling embarrassed over things that don't really matter in the bigger picture. That's something I've really suffered with over the years. Like I would just feel so embarrassed if someone like to be found out to not have everything together or not be doing something or being who I am, like I would feel like almost embarrassed. I would like shrink down in myself. And those are all signs that you're being ruled by your ego. If you are feeling ruled by your ego, I've just got this book off my shelf. This is a great book, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. If you're feeling ruled by your ego and this video is talking to you, this is the book that you 100% need. This is the book that I read that shifted me out of being ego driven. So the way I rid myself of being driven by my ego is I started letting go by practicing like self-compassion and reminding myself that I'm more than just my accomplishments. I did meditation and journaling, and I was on this quest to really get to know me, what I wanted, what fills me up, and what isn't just a temporary ego boost. So that was a huge change that I made in my 40s, was no longer being ruled by my ego. The second thing was having flimsy boundaries. That's a huge thing that I have stopped doing in my 40s. So I used to say yes to things I didn't want to do, to seem more agreeable or to be liked or to avoid conflict. I often wouldn't stand up for myself or say what I really felt or what I really meant. My boundaries were so flimsy. I endured toxic relationships for too long. I wasted time doing things that didn't serve me. I tried to be like everyone else, so I blend in. And ultimately, it all left me feeling drained and resentful, and I was losing myself. I lost myself. When you have flimsy boundaries, you do lose yourself in them. If you often feel burnt out or overcommitted, or have that horrible sinking feeling when a certain person gets in touch with you or people ask you to do things. Those are kind of signs that your boundaries need reinforcement. Or if you find yourself doing things, even eating things, watching things, going places purely to please other people, when it's things that you genuinely have no desire to do, your boundaries need attention. I'm not saying that we never do things for other people or because other people want to do them. Obviously, we do, but that shouldn't be your life every single day. You should be able to do the stuff that you want to do too. Or if you're feeling like other people aren't respecting your time, it's a sign that you're not enforcing your boundaries. Somewhere along the line, you've allowed that to happen by not having strong enough boundaries for yourself. So the way I strengthened my boundaries was I started to really tune into how I felt, what I wanted, what nourished me and what didn't, how I felt in certain situations, who filled me up and who drained me. It was like I said, it was really about getting to know myself on a deeper level. That is such a crucial part of your growth and evolution journey. It's really the cornerstone to learning what your boundaries need to be because we all have different needs when it comes to boundaries as well. So copying someone else's boundaries isn't going to help you at all. So I identified my non-negotiables, my absolute no's, and I began enforcing them, even if it felt awkward or I thought I was being difficult or I was taking too much space, whatever it was. I was like, no, I'm going to step forward and I'm going to say what I feel and what I mean because this is me. These are my boundaries. I started putting myself in the driving seat. And it's one of those things, it's like a muscle, it gets easier over time. And what I discovered was that the world didn't collapse in on itself. And actually, I started attracting people to me who did fill me up rather than empty me out. So when you come to a stage in your life where you're realizing your boundaries need some attention, it can be a bit scary to think that people are going to leave, you're going to upset people. You know what? Sometimes in life, that's just what needs to happen in order for you to step into your next phase of growth. So now for me, if it's not a full body heck yeah, it's a no. You come to a point in your life where no is a complete sentence. Like you don't have to please everybody. Now I trust myself. It's made such a huge difference to my energy and to my focus because I've got my head down. I'm in my own lane. I'm not bothered what anyone else is doing. I'm doing what I need to do, right? So boundaries is a huge thing for me that's shifted in my 40s. The next thing that I have stopped doing in my 40s, and it's still a bit of a journey, but I think I'm really getting there, is devaluing myself and playing small. I'm a business mentor. I'm in the online business world. I'm constantly surrounded by the most incredibly successful, powerful, influential women. Like they are everywhere in my sphere, basically. And I realized in my 40s that I was shrinking back from standing up with these women. I thought I didn't deserve to be there, that I wasn't expert enough, or I was too old, or I'd missed my time, or I wasn't good enough. So I was just holding myself in shrink mode, holding back on my ideas, shrinking back in certain situations because I didn't want to appear like I was trying too hard or I was being too much or too pushy or too ambitious or So the way to recognize it is if you're always second guessing yourself and putting your ideas on the back burner or holding back in meetings or in your career, your business, or in social situations, that's all probably signs that you're playing small, that you're holding yourself back. People pleasing is such a huge thing that I think a lot of women go through. And this kind of holding ourselves small because we don't want to seem threatening and we want to be liked by everyone is such a huge thing that rules so much of our life. And it's just so damaging to ourselves. And it's not really helping anybody, is the truth of the matter. It can also show up as imposter syndrome, that nagging feeling that you're just not good enough, that you shouldn't be here, that everyone else is better than you. So how I stopped playing small was I started really embracing my strengths and really looking at like taking an inventory of my skills, my accomplishments, and I focused in on doing what I love. So doing YouTube videos is part of this sort of journey that I've been on. I've always loved creating videos, but for years I told myself, I can't do that because I need to do this. But now I'm like embracing, I'm like, this is what I love to do. So I'm going to do more of this because if I'm happy and excited and energized, I'll be drawing the right people to me. So over time, I've gotten better at really owning my expertise and surrounding myself with supportive people and mentors and coaches and guides who encourage me to step into the fullness of who I am. And now I look at these amazing, powerful women and I think we are together. We are changing the world together. Not they are here and I am here. We are here as a collective, right? There is no hierarchy in this. We are here as a collective. So that's a huge thing that's shifted for me in my 40s. Another thing in this one is just massive for me is seeking approval and validation and permission. This definitely tracks back to my childhood where I didn't feel safe a lot of the time, and I probably wasn't given approval or permission or validation a lot of the time. And I felt unsafe in that. So as I've become an adult, I've definitely found that I have been seeking that. I'm the sort of person that when I have an idea or I want to do something, I would always speak to someone in my inner circle before making the decision. It's kind of like seeking that approval, getting their opinion before moving forward. Like I needed it to be validated. Is this a good idea? I needed someone else to validate it for me. I suppose part of it was not taking responsibility really as well for my own decisions, and that is part of growing up is self-responsibility. If one person in my inner circle disagreed or voiced another opinion, it would completely throw me off. It would make me doubt myself and go in a different direction, often against my own better judgment and my instincts. I was second guessing myself. It was really robbing me of my own self-trust. And ultimately, all it did was hold me back. All it did was hold me back. How to recognize this is if you find yourself hesitating to make decisions until you've asked certain people in your life, even if you're just kind of bringing it up in casual conversation, but whatever they say has a massive impact on what you do or don't do, or if someone's criticism of your ideas completely derails you, that's an indication that you're seeking too much outside validation. Another sign is if you find yourself changing your mind often because of what other people are doing or opinions of other people. I mean, I've wasted so much time doing this, trying to mold myself to be a million different people because I wasn't really 100% sure who I was. And I didn't really feel 100% confident in my own choices. So I wasn't taking enough responsibility for my own decisions. How I stopped myself from seeking approval, and this is a work in progress, but I think with a lot of this stuff, just bringing awareness to it and being aware of it can change really quickly, but these things are habits as well. So they can take a little while for you to kind of move away from. But basically, I just focused really on strengthening my own intuition and trusting myself. So I would ask myself, what do I want? What do I want to do? Not what they think. I actually stopped asking people what they think. I stopped telling people my ideas. I just did them. You know that saying, isn't it? Celebrate in public, move in private, or whatever it is. So I just stopped telling everyone. So I used to like constantly say to myself, I'm doing this in my business, this is my business. And then obviously he's a business person as well. He'd come in with his opinions and thoughts. And not that it was a bad thing, but it was having too much of an impact on what I was doing. I was being swayed too much by what other people were doing and saying rather than trusting myself. Things like journaling really helped me tune into my own voice, going back to my vision, like my purpose, what I want, why am I here, what lights me up. I set myself these small challenges where I would just make a decision without consulting anybody. And over time, that's what's built my confidence and stopped me from seeking validation and approval. And even now, if someone does have an opinion on what I'm doing, I take it or leave it. You know what I mean? So it has completely shifted in me, and I'm glad to be rid of it because for me, it was quite damaging, I think. The next thing is a bit more of a lighter one, but a huge shift I've made in my 40s is buying tons and tons of like trendy or the newest skincare and hair care. In my 30s, I was definitely a product junkie. I was buying all of the latest things, skincare and hair care especially, looking for the answer, looking for the magic bullet, right? Or wanting to have the latest thing that everyone else was using. But I realized that having all of that stuff, A, it's just clutter that was just drowning my life, but B, it wasn't serving me because it wasn't what I needed for myself. So a huge shift that I've made is I've pared down, I've discovered what works for me, and I don't buy stuff. I don't buy any other stuff anymore. So I've got like 4 hair care products that I swear by, 4 skincare products that I swear, and I don't use anything else. I'm not swayed. I'm not buying the expensive stuff. I'm not buying the latest trend. I've focused on what works for me. So now my skin is happier, my hair is happier, I'm happier, I'm saving money, saving time. So yeah, like not following skincare and makeup trends and constantly seeking the next big thing is actually a huge thing that I've shifted in my 40s. Just thought we'd end with a bit of a light one there. These shifts not only make my life easier, they've made it so much more fulfilling as well. I feel more in tune with who I am. I'm more confident in myself. I trust myself, and I'm more at peace with myself as well. So if you're navigating similar changes at any age, let me know in the comments what your lessons have been, what you've let go of, if any of these ones have specifically resonated with you today. What's something that you've stopped doing that's made a really positive impact on your life? Let me know. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, it really helps. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.